Bowl.
College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Allstate.
Information, examination, calculation, deliberation, declaration. That's their mission. The decisive dozen, the Power 12.
First ever college football playoff rankings will be released just
Together they'll sift strength of schedule and margin of victory, search for signature wins and quality losses, study conference pedigree and competitive quality. Together they'll judge and weigh, measure and gauge how they've all played, what we've all seen, and where it all leads. And then proclaim a ranking, a list, a bracket. 4 for now. Are you in?
That is the prize. The National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. It will be claimed January 12th in the first college football playoff championship game in Arlington, Texas. Here's the judge, the jury, the 12 people who hold the fate of every team that's contending for a championship in college football. They met earlier today in Dallas, Texas, and we are about to unveil to you exclusively for the first time College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings. Glad to have you with us. Reese Davis, along with David Pollack, Danny Cannell. Kirk Herbstreit's going to join us in just a little bit. When we show you these rankings in just a few moments, we haven't seen them either. No peeking. So we're going to have the same visceral reaction that you do. What are you most looking forward to learning?
I'm shaking, dude. This is gonna be awesome. I mean, I really want to learn right out the gates how much head-to-head matters. Alabama, Ole Miss, TCU, Baylor, Arizona, Oregon. Right out the gate, we're going to get a good indication of how much one of their criteria for this committee head-to-head matter.
I can't wait to stop doing my own top 4 because they mean nothing. I want to see something that matters.
We're ready for you to stop doing them.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
We're going to still have you do them at some point to see whether you agree or disagree. This is the dawning of a new era in the sport we love. Quick reminder of how it works. 12-person selection committee that met in Dallas to rank the top 25 teams. They'll do it every week. We'll unveil it here. Top 4 at the end of the season go to the semifinals this year. It is the Rose and Sugar Bowl, and you see the criteria that the committee is evaluating. This is much more art than science in ranking the top 25. So the time has arrived. Let's take a look. This week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Allstate. We'll start at number 25. Louisville, who has a huge game against Florida State Thursday night, making the field. Probably of note that UCLA, though a 2-loss team, is sitting at 22nd, where Michigan State was in the BCS standings last year. And by the end, Michigan State would have made the playoff with the top 4. UCLA sitting there, and maybe there'll be 2-loss chaos by the end. Going a little bit farther up the rankings, you're starting to get into a lot of 1-loss teams, and there are 16 1-loss teams in the Power 5 conferences.
And I think there is Ohio State. That's your first indicator, your first Big Ten team that you need to pay attention to.
I wanted to see where the Big Ten teams would fall. Having them there is significant, and Utah still with a great chance in the Pac-12, but so far not getting a ton of respect from the committee, but they'll have their opportunities the rest of the way. Let's keep counting down now and get up. Number 15, there's another Big Ten team in Nebraska. Its only loss being to Michigan State, perhaps suggesting that who you lost to is important too.
This is big. Nebraska is a team not many people have been talking about. Amir Abdullah has been lighting it up, and the Big Ten should be thrilled with where they are, especially Michigan State or Ohio State, whoever they could potentially play in that Big Ten championship game.
Also note the position of Arizona and Baylor. 1-loss teams who have beaten teams that obviously are going to be much higher ranked. Arizona has a victory at Oregon. Baylor beat TCU at home. So that's 11 through 25. You've seen them continuing the countdown. Number 10, Notre Dame, and TCU, with only the late loss against Baylor, is sitting at number 7. So now you've seen 7 through 25, and Michigan State there at 8.
I think the significance of me seeing 7-2-10 right there is
10,
Notre Dame.
yeah.
Because you can gripe with Notre Dame because they don't have a good win on their resume. So they were impressive in a loss against Florida State, but their best win so far is Stanford to date. So the committee, obviously, who you've beaten, I think they're taking into account already. You can see just right there.
That to me was the big surprise about that one. Notre Dame all the way at 10. I agree with you. Who have you beaten as opposed to, we've been talking a lot about what a great loss it was, but they're really looking at who you've beaten.
And you also saw the team undefeated in conference play in the Big 12, Kansas State. Its only loss, a home loss to Auburn, not making the top 4 right now. So now you know 7 through 25, at least for this initial release of the rankings. The top 4 teams and the first 2 teams looking in. So let's have a look at the bracket. We're going to start at number 1. The number 1 team, according to the selection committee, is Mississippi State. Same as the polls, reflects it accurately. At number 2, we expect to see Florida State, and we do. So Mississippi State, Florida State, top 2 of the first rankings. How about number 3? Number 3 is Auburn, the highest ranked SEC team. So you have Mississippi State, Florida State, and Auburn with only the loss on the road to Mississippi State.
And to me, that shows them putting a priority on an out-of-conference win against Kansas State on the road.
I think it also shows putting a priority on who and where you lost, because Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech. Perhaps that's the reason they're so far down. So what we have now, at least for this first ranking, remember, this is going to be fluid. These teams are going to play each other, a lot of them anyway. So you've got 3 teams for 1 spot and a very compelling head-to-head argument with Ole Miss's close victory against Alabama and Oregon. You have Alabama, Ole Miss, and Oregon, the 3 teams left. One of them, stats, and sitting at number 4 right now, Ole Miss Rebels.
Wow.
Head to head with Alabama.
But before people get crazy, remember, number 3 and number 4 play each other Saturday night on ESPN in what will be an elimination game, and Oregon has the slightest of edges against Alabama. So it's Mississippi State, Florida State, Auburn, and Ole Miss. We have 3 teams from the SEC West and Florida State making the top 4 at least right now. So Kirk Herbstreit, as promised, joins us now. So Kirk, 3 teams from the SEC West.